Ever wondered how you can boost the performance of your NetCore applications by using lightweight objects and APIs? Welcome to the 7th part of our series on top performance tricks for NetCore. In this episode, we'll be exploring the power of using lightweight objects or data transfer objects in APIs. These simple, serialized objects can be your secret weapon for optimizing network traffic and improving overall performance. So, ready to supercharge your application's performance? Let's dive into the world of data transfer objects and see how they can supercharge your application's performance. So, what exactly are lightweight objects in the context of APIs? Well, these are commonly known as data transfer objects, or DTOs for short. They've earned the nickname lightweight because they're simple, streamlined, and efficient. Their main role? To transfer data between different layers or parts of an application. This is especially crucial when it comes to network calls. Imagine DTOs as efficient messengers, carrying only the essential information from one point to another. They don't carry any extra baggage like behavior or business logic. This makes them perfect for transmitting data over the network, reducing the amount of data that needs to be sent back and forth. Now, why are they important? Because they can significantly optimize network traffic. By sending only the necessary data, DTOs reduce load times, boost performance, and ultimately enhance the user experience. In essence, they help optimize network traffic and boost the performance of web services. Knowing when to use lightweight objects can make all the difference in your application performance. Data transfer. Objects or DTOs are your go-to when you need to send data between the server and the client, especially over the network. They're essentially your data couriers, ensuring efficient and quick delivery of information. Another ideal scenario for using DTOs is when you want to expose only a fraction of your domain model. Think of it as curating a special menu for your clients, where you're only serving what they need, nothing more, nothing less. Lastly, if you're in a situation where the size of the request and response payloads needs to be minimized for performance, DTOs are the way to go. They're like packing for a trip with limited luggage space. You only take what's necessary, leaving behind the extra weight. Identifying these scenarios correctly will ensure you maximize the benefits of using DTOs. While DTOs can be quite useful, they are not always the right solution. For example, when dealing with internal application logic where the full domain model is needed, DTOs might be overkill. Likewise, if your API closely shadows your database schema and involves simple CRUD operations, using your domain models directly can be a simpler and more efficient approach, especially when there are no security or bandwidth concerns. Understanding when not to use DTOs is just as important as knowing when to use them. Avoiding common pitfalls can save you a lot of headaches down the line. Now let's talk about some common mistakes developers often make when using data transfer objects, or DTOs. First off, exposing sensitive data. When crafting DTOs, it's crucial to only include the necessary information. Including sensitive data in DTOs that are sent to the client can be a serious security risk. Next, overcomplicating DTOs. The beauty of DTOs lies in their simplicity. Making them too complex or including unnecessary data only increases the payload size, defeating the purpose of using DTOs in the first place. Lastly, ignoring object-to-object mapping libraries like AutoMapper. These libraries can greatly simplify the mapping process between domain models and DTOs. If overlooked, you might end up with verbose and error-prone mapping code. Being aware of these pitfalls can help you avoid them and make the most of using DTOs. Now that we know what to avoid, let's discuss some best practices. Firstly, consider using AutoMapper. This is a simple, yet powerful library that helps map between your domain models and data transfer objects, or DTOs. AutoMapper can reduce the amount of manual mapping code you need to write, making your code cleaner, easier to read, and less prone to errors. It's a handy tool that can save you a lot of time and effort. Next, it's important to design your DTOs based on the specific use case or requirements of your API endpoint. Instead of creating a one-size-fits-all DTO, design them to fit the specific needs of each scenario. This ensures your DTOs are as lightweight as possible, which in turn helps to optimize your network traffic and boost the performance of your web services. Lastly, don't forget to implement validation on your DTOs. This is an essential step to ensure the integrity of the data being transferred. By validating your DTOs, you can prevent invalid or unexpected data from being sent or received, which can lead to bugs, crashes, or even security vulnerabilities in your application. Remember, the goal of using DTOs is to optimize your network traffic and improve the overall performance of your web services. By following these best practices, you can make sure your DTOs are doing just that. Implementing these best practices will ensure you get the most out of using DTOs in your NetCore APIs. Today, we've explored a powerful tool for boosting NetCore performance, lightweight objects and APIs. We've learned that data transfer objects, or DTOs, are a best practice for optimizing network traffic and improving the performance of web services. They are simple, serialized objects used to transfer data between different layers or parts of an application, especially over network calls. We've discussed when to use these lightweight objects, such as when transferring data between the client and server, exposing a subset of your domain model, or when performance optimization calls for minimizing the size of request and response payloads. On the other hand, we've also noted instances when DTOs might not be necessary, like for internal application logic or simple CRUD operations, where there are no security or bandwidth concerns. We've highlighted some common pitfalls, like exposing sensitive data in DTOs or overcomplicating them. And we've stressed the importance of using object-to-object mapping libraries like AutoMapper to avoid verbose and error-prone mapping code. Finally, we've shared some best practices to get the most out of DTOs. Using AutoMapper for mapping, designing DTOs based on the specific use case or API endpoint requirements, and implementing validation on DTOs to ensure data integrity. Remember, the key to getting the most out of DTOs is to understand when and how to use them effectively. Until next time, happy coding!